Well, good morning, consultants. I want to make sure people can hear me. We've got people rapidly coming onto the call. I'm going to keep everybody on mute this morning because we tend to get so much noise in the background. But fire up your chat boxes, if you will, and give me a couple shout outs from folks. Let me know where you're calling me from, how you're feeling today, that kind of stuff. I'm going to give it about another minute, and then we're going to get going. All right, I'm not seeing much from folks. Can folks tell me if they can hear me at least? That would be very helpful. All right, great. All right, it looks like everybody can hear me. Okay, thank you so much for giving me those answers. And everybody can see the screen. Okay. All right, well, welcome, consultants. I am so happy to have you on the call, and I'm honored to have a little bit of time to coach you guys this morning. I am your host. My name is Shelly Churchill. I'm a 15-year change management consultant, and I'm also a certified health coach. And today you're going to crack the code on some obstacles that I know are haunting you if you're trying to change your health. What I wanted to do was give you 3 simple steps, right? Things that you can do to kind of get those obstacles to your health out of the way, right? So here's what we're going to go over today. I'm going to help you how to figure out how to get more time in your day. This is a common theme I hear from consultants, right? I don't have enough time, Shelly. I don't even have time to brush my teeth, much less work on my exercise. So let's talk about how to get more time actually into your day. The second thing is I'm going to help you solve what I call the solution confusion. So this is, gosh, I don't know which diet. I don't know what's going to work for me. Maybe I've tried things and they haven't worked, right? There's 17,000 diet books published every year. So what do you do? And now we're starting to see the proliferation of different sort of fad workout routines. There's 18,000 different stress management techniques. Okay, so what do you do? How do you cut through this chaos and know where to start? All right. So we're going to tackle that obstacle. And then also, hey, I'm going to make change easier. Yep, you heard it right, folks. I'm a change management consultant. I'm going to show you how to make change much, much easier than it probably is right now for you. So those 3 things we're going to go over. I'm going to do it in half an hour or less. I'll ask you to, call out on your chat boxes at a couple times during this presentation. And then at the end, I'll just take open-ended questions. But I want to honor your busy lives and get you through the content so you have some tools so you can get on your day. Because if you were like I was when I was a full-time consultant, you probably have 3 calls you need to be on right after this call. So let's get going. So a little bit about me. As I said, I have an MBA from Duke University, and out of Duke, I went to go work for Ernst & Young, and I was a road warrior for 6 years. After that, I was an independent consultant, as I still am, for 10 years. So on the consulting side of the house, I have done every flavor that there is: road warrior, independent, part-time, full-time, mother, single person, all of it. I've done it all. In my consulting area, I always focused on change management, right? So change management is about affecting behavioral change inside an organization. Essentially, I work with leaders who want to get their employees to change their behaviors. That's the bottom line on organizational change management. It's about behavioral change, right? Then a couple years back, I added 3 more letters to my name. CHC is Certified Health Coach. I graduated from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which is the largest and one of the oldest nutrition schools in the world. It's about 40,000 graduates. Fabulous program. And I enjoyed it so much, I decided to launch a business in health coaching. I've been health coaching in individual practice for over 2 years, primarily targeting consultants and other professionals, right? So I've built up a skill set around coaching people to their health-related goals. What I found was that my coaching was very similar to my OCM experience, which is it's essentially at its nature about behavioral change. Right. But I love working with consultants, and I just, I feel the pain of consultants from all of my years in the industries. And so I just want to tell you, first off, I get it. If you are struggling with your health, you're not alone. I really get what you're going through. And it's something I call work plus life equals no balance, because to tell a consultant that it's a work-life balance thing doesn't even begin to really describe the picture for you guys, I'm sure, right? If you are a consultant, you're probably working for 2 masters. You are working for your clients, and you are working for your other organization that you're tied to. You might be working for like an Ernst & Young or a smaller consulting firm, or you might be working for yourself. I know many of you on this call actually have your own consulting businesses. But either way, it's a whole other job, right? So all of this tends to add up as no balance. And as I said before, it's a great industry. There's lots of wonderful things about it, but it tends to be unhealthy, right? So I'm dedicating my practice from this point on to helping other consultants get healthy through simple steps that work for you in your professional life, right? I've spent the last 6 months talking to consultants nonstop through a series of surveys and interviews. These are the top concerns, health concerns for consultants, right? Exercise, eating, and stress management. They came through loud and clear, right? But the bigger issues and the bigger fears that I heard from you guys was the obstacles of not enough time, can't find a solution that works, and change is just too darn hard. And also, if I actually work on my health, I'm afraid I'll either lose my job or my clients will suffer or my business will go under, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to start addressing some of those obstacles. So these are the first 3 steps I'd like for you to try working on. The first one, so let's get to it. So you need more time, right? You need more time in your day. I get it. My clients all tell me I'm on 24/7. There's no breaks, right? There's always something I should be doing, or if I'm doing one thing, I'm stressed out about something I'm not doing. Yep, I hear you, right? So the gateway to time management and getting more time is to build boundaries. So boundaries are like a high-level statement of work for your life. In the same way that you would not allow a client to have a statement of work that was open-ended and too out of scope, you have to apply those same skills to your own life, right? So boundaries is figuring out what's in and what's out of your life on a daily basis. And let's crack the code a little bit, right? So here's where we're going to change some of your mindset, hopefully, and I'm going to invite you to think about it a little bit differently, right? So building boundaries, managing time, getting more time. It's not about making lists. It's not about prioritizing things. It's not about block scheduling. It's really not about any of that stuff at its essence. Those are all helpful tools and skills to build. But if you cannot figure out how to flex your muscle to learn how to build more boundaries, it doesn't matter how many lists you make. It doesn't matter how well you prioritize, right? So build boundaries around a few things and start small. For example, I had a client who got up in the morning and the first thing she did was she went to her computer, right? 6 a.m. So this is a VP of a very well-known consulting firm, completely stressed out, burnt out, right? So she's like, I'm on my computer all day long. So I said, look, here's what we're going to do first. You're going to practice for 2 weeks getting up and waiting 5 minutes before you open your computer, right? So we're going to go at it in a way where you start to slowly build boundaries and see that you're not going to lose your job when you start building these boundaries, right? So that's just one example, but I invite you to look at what's in and out of scope for your life. Whether it's eating, exercise, all of those things, if you want to work on them, you have to have more time. The only way to get more time is to actually build boundaries and have some things be out of scope for right now. All right, so that is step number 1. Now, step number 2, here we go. This is exciting stuff, people. Once you have more time, then you can start to get some data about your own current state and your health plan, right? So this is where people get really confused. So people say, well, I don't really know what solution's going to work. I just want to know what's going to work, and then I'm going to do it. I've tried paleo, I've tried Atkins, I've tried CrossFit, I've tried transcendental meditation, I've tried all this stuff, right? And nothing seems to be working, and now I feel like a failure, right? So here's the thing. You are your own expert about your health. You're the only person who can know what works. And the only way to start knowing what's going to work is to start doing things and getting some data about what actually has power over helping you change your health, right? For example, if you don't have a hold or an understanding on your current state eating habits, the first thing I would recommend after we carve out time for you to start working on your health is to do a food journal. And sometimes it's a food mood journal. This is where you don't even change what you eat. You just write it down for 2 weeks. Write it down, right? You've got to know your own patterns. And eating's a big one. Most folks eat mindlessly, especially when you're a consultant, right? It's whatever you can grab. You're eating at your desk, you know. I was on a big project once, and I would pass people's desk, and there'd be Red Bulls and coffee and this and that, and everything stacked up, right? So what's around your computer is very indicative of your eating patterns, but most people don't have a handle on that, right? So whatever it is, if it's stress you're dealing with, make a stress journal, write it down, catalog it, get your handle on your own current state, just as you would with a client. Most of us know how to go in and do current state assessments or some sort of documentation of what's going on now with a client, right? You've got to get the data. You've got to know what the patterns are now so that you can craft what the vision is for the future. But just remember, change your mindset. It's not about the scientifically proven stuff. Those things may not work for you. They might work for you, right? It's not about researching more best practices. It's not about what your best friend is doing. It's about what works for you, and you are the expert. Now, some best practices may be good places to start, but try it and see what works. You are absolutely the expert. No one is going to know if eating kale works for you or not. I had a client, and she would throw up kale. And she said, well, I feel bad about myself. It's supposed to be this superfood, right? I'm like, no. If you throw it up, don't eat it. Cross it off the list and move on, right? It's that simple. But there is a mindset change. So just remember, you're the expert. Do what works for you and put the blinders on. So that is the second step. So we found you more time with some boundaries. You're starting to figure out your current state and where you might want to work and understanding your current state. But now you got to start changing stuff, which is really hard, right? So change is hard. Everybody says that. Change is hard. You just have to suck it up. You just have to embrace it. Well, that's a bunch of hoo-ha. When you are trying to change your behaviors, your health-related behaviors, it's essentially the hardest thing that there is to do, right? So we need to make it easier, or you're just not going to do it. As a consultant, you don't have the time. You barely have the energy, right? But you know if you don't change your health, it's going to kill you, right? Or you're going to burn out and have to find a new job. So here's the deal. Here is the big fat secret. You heard it here first, or maybe you heard it here second. I don't know. Here's how it works. You need to plan to change one thing on a very small scale at a very reasonable pace. Okay, so I'm going to let that sink in, as this is a huge paradigm shift, right? Huge paradigm shift approaching. Beware. Okay, so the reason most projects fail, so remember my 15 years in the consulting world working with companies like Best Buy, Fleming Foods, the Washington Post, the US Army, all same issues, right? The reasons projects fail, and there's a lot of literature around this, but the real reason they fail, well, I wish I could say it's because they don't have me as their change management expert, but that's not true. The real reason projects fail is because projects are trying to do too much on too big a scale too fast, right? There's something about our culture right now, and I don't know what it is, and that's not my area of expertise, but that seems to be what is touted, what is put forth as what you're trying to go for, and it spills over in every aspect of our life. Diets, exercise, if you're not losing 50 pounds in a month, then you're not on the right diet. Well, those things don't last. So fast doesn't last, especially when you're talking about behavioral change. If you go to a physical therapist after surgery, the physical therapist will start you on a regime, and then they will increase your level of exertion by increments of no more than 10%. And you need to do the same thing when you are changing behaviors with yourself, right? So I know it's sexy to be able to say, gee, I lost all this weight. But why do most diets fail? Because they try to force you to do too much too fast. And physically, your body actually can't maintain it. But, put that aside, the behavior change doesn't stick, right? Because you haven't had time to practice it and tweak it and get it to work for you right now, given your personality, given your profession, and given your life, right? So this is truly a huge paradigm shift. But this is the way change becomes doable and easy, right? Plan to change one thing on a small scale at a reasonable pace. So my mantra is change one thing, practice it, make it sing. Change one thing, make it sing, declare victory, move on to the next thing. When I work with clients, this is the thing that absolutely floors them. They typically fall off their chair when I say, okay, you want to work on exercise? What do you want to do? And they say, okay, I am not exercising at all. Okay, what's your goal? I want to exercise 5 days a week. And I say, that's not going to happen right away. That might happen in 6 months. But to go from 0 to 5 days a week is setting yourself up for failure. It's not sustainable, and it's not necessary, right? Because you can get there doing it slowly. And as you do it slowly, you're going to be able to maintain it, right? So there's one thing you could take away. It's go when you're trying to address your health issues, right? Go out and change one thing on a small scale and keep at it, because you're going to do it, right? You're going to set up a goal for yourself. And if you need help, I will help you set them up. And then you're going to do it. And then you have conquered the psychological fears and battles, which is 90% of it, right? All right. So I'm going to stop here before I go on, and you guys fire up your chat boxes and let me know if any of this is resonating, if any of this are these obstacles that you experience. Yes, no, maybe. Anything? Let me see. I got to make sure I know if I can. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes. I'm just going to type in here, change one thing. Where are we on time? We're pretty good on time. Oop, change on things. Wait, I can't type. Change one thing. Sorry, I'm a little technologically challenged. See, I can see replies now. Thanks. All right, so I'm not getting a lot of, are you guys out there? Not getting a lot of feedback, but I'm hoping you guys are still on the call and it's working. So I'm going to move forward, right? So these are your 3 steps. Okay. So here's the deal, right? So if you're on this call, you're probably struggling with your health at some point, or maybe you're just trying to get some best practices to put in your toolkit. Either way. So my vision for you all, right, as consultants, is that you become healthy consultants and that you actually can do it, right? So here's where I breathe belief into you guys a little bit. So my vision is that when you're a healthy consultant, maybe you look like my little picture there, but you look like yourself. But here's how you are, right? You wake up, you go into work, whatever that looks like for you. You actually have mental clarity, focus, and endurance because you've got healthy eating nailed. You've got healthy exercise, whatever that works, whatever that means for you, and whatever works in your life, right? So that's two of your concerns. So that can get nailed. And then what you're going to notice over time, after you get into these healthy habits of better eating, more exercise that's working for you, you're going to notice your stress. Not only does the stress go down, but your resilience to it goes up, which means that the stress doesn't stop, but you are different when you're in the ball of stress, right? So you begin to manage stress, drama, right? There's always lots of drama, toxic agendas, which you do all of this with agility and ease. And it's unbelievable. You're gonna show up at work one day and think, man, it's different. And that's a great feeling, right? Because when you start to feel that way, you are just a consultant that nobody can touch, right? So here's the real deal, is that when consultants get healthy, they get superior. And that's part of my vision for you guys. Not only that, because I was a change management consultant, I don't know, I really like the idea of having a toolkit. So you guys have a little toolkit of tools that help you with your health that you take out and use when they're appropriate and when they work, right? You have these tools that help you get to a place of health, and then as you need the tools to maintain them, you are skilled with these different best practices, right? So I bring the best practices around nutrition and lifestyle, and I blend them with behavioral change best practices, right? And then I end up with healthy people, right? That's what I do in my programs. So that's my vision, and I hope it resonates with you. But that is the bulk of what I had to share with you. Oh, I think I'm doing well on the time. Yay. But, the next step. Let me review first. So the 3 steps, let's just make sure those are firmly in your brain. So you got to get more time by building boundaries. Practice building boundaries. The stuff that is meaningless, that's no useful, just throw it out and put the good stuff in, right? So open up some space to have more time. Then go get some of your own data, right? Make sure you understand what your current state is and what your patterns are, right? Become more mindful of what's going on with yourself. Then you're going to know where you want to start. Once you know where to start, just remember scope, scale, and timing. Change one thing at a time at a reasonable pace, right? On a very small scale. So if you want to exercise more and you are not exercising at all, right? Start with either, 45 minutes once a week, or start with 5 to 10 minutes every other day. But start small, because it's not about how much exercise you start to do. It's about nailing down the behavior pattern. It's about resetting your neural pathways, right? That's what it's about. So those are my 3 things for you guys today. And the next step, if you're interested, schedule what I call a starter session. If you think you're still going to have all these obstacles tripping you up when you're trying to get started changing your health, let's jump on a call, right? So my calls are easy peasy conversations. We're going to sit down. You're going to tell me what's going on. You're going to tell me about your obstacles. And at the end of the call, I'm going to give you absolute clarity on how to start changing your health and what to do next, first, second, and third. This is the thing my clients love about me the most. They always say, Shelly, I was absolutely astounded, and this is the best thing you ever did for me, was you helped me put my blinders on. You said, no. Don't try to do exercise every day right away. Do it this way. Or no, don't try to cut out all processed foods at once. Go at it slowly. Right? This is actually what works. It's not nearly as dramatic or sexy as losing, 60 pounds in 90 days or, building up muscles in 2 months. It's not, I'm telling you, but it really is what works over the long haul. And I'm in it for the long game. I'm in it for you to change your health for good, right? And this is what works. So with that, I'm going to let the folks that need to go on with their day drop off. And if you'd like to, I'm going to hang around for like 5 minutes, and I'm going to just be here breathing, looking at the chat box and seeing if anybody has any questions. If not, I wish you a very successful implementation, right, of these 5 steps. And remember, if you need help, either email me, Shelly@shellychurchill.com, Or if you just want to book a call, these are free calls, right? Healthy Consultant Now. I'll help you get started doing that right now. And that is it. You will receive weekly tips from me on how to be a healthy consultant with your registration for this webinar. So I look forward to talking to you and helping you change your health. Thanks, everybody, and I'll hang around for questions. Just fire up your chat box. Thanks, guys.